Hey, what's going on, fam? So I had someone ask me a question, and it was pretty interesting. They said, "What do you do when faith starts to feel quiet?" It's like, that's pretty interesting, you know. And when we talk about faith feeling quiet, we're not talking about crisis. We're not talking about rebellion. We're just talking about silence. Okay. So that's what I'm going to talk about real briefly this today. Okay. So, again, my name is Will. Welcome to Practical Moments with Will, where we talk about real life, real faith, and we do it with no filter. So, let's get into it, okay? I want to talk about something people don't say out loud very often. In fact, that's all I ever really want to talk about, okay? What do you do when faith starts to feel quiet, okay? I'm not talking about faith that's gone. I'm not talking about faith that's even broken. I'm really specifically talking to people when your faith is just quiet. What do I mean by quiet? I'm glad that you asked. I'm talking about there's no big emotions. There's no clear direction. There's no strong sense of anything, really. I mean, when you think about it, you're still doing the right things. You're still showing up. Shoot, you really still believing. At least intellectually you are. I mean, but internally it feels kind of flat. And and I've been in these moments. I've been in these spaces, and that's the reason why I'm talking about it, okay? Sometimes that can really mess with people, okay? Because silence sometimes gets interpreted as absence. And we start wondering, did I miss something? Did I mess something up? Is something wrong with me? Come on now. I know I'm not the only one. Okay. And it's especially if you're used to feeling very active in your faith. Okay. If you're used to engaging, if you're used to reinforcing, uh, that's going to feel weird. Okay. But there's hope because this is what I've noticed. And, again, I can only speak for practical moments for myself, okay? Quiet faith seasons don't usually show up when things are going badly. They really show up when life is kind of heavy, when responsibility is either increasing or has increased, when that pressure starts to stack up, one thing on top of another, when your drain and your energy is low. And instead of God leaving, what's often happening is you don't have margin to feel much of anything. And that's okay. That's incredibly human because silence doesn't necessarily mean distance. Sometimes it just means you're just flat out tired. Okay. And I know what I'm talking about because I've gone through these things. And sometimes we confuse emotional reinforcement with faithfulness. We think if it doesn't feel alive, it must not be working, especially in our community. Okay? But in my experience, a lot of real faith looks born from the inside. It usually looks like consistency. It really looks like routine, if you would. Um, Doing the next right thing without the fireworks. A lot of times that's what real faith looks like. And that doesn't get talked about as much because it doesn't sound inspiring. It doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound cool, if you would. But you know what? It's real. So, I just wanted to give you a word this morning that if you're in your quiet season, I want you to hear this, okay? Silence doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something wrong. Think about it. And it doesn't necessarily mean, yeah, I'm talking to you, that God is disappointed with you. It doesn't necessarily mean that God has disappeared. Sometimes faith grows deeper when it stops needing constant feedback. See, you ain't got to force a feeling. You don't need to manufacture some kind of intensity. And you know, that's what we've been taught. All you got to do is just stay honest. Stay present in your situation, okay? And stay faithful in those ever small ways, even if it doesn't seem like you're being noticed. Because quiet seasons don't last forever. But what they do is they often do teach steadiness. And steadiness is the thing that's going to carry you further than any of them emotions ever will. So be encouraged. Well, that's all I got for today. And I want to thank you again for spending a little bit of time with me. Take care. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon. God bless. Peace.